Hey guys, it's Kat and I am back today to talk about Cosmetics. So I was lucky enough to be sent a couple of their items in PR. This was a few weeks ago now. I think it was actually maybe just before or just as I was having a baby. So it was a couple of months now. I've been playing with these products and I thought I'll just do a demo and let you know what I think about them. So the products that I have been trying, I've got 2 shades of their Micro-Fluff Sculpting Brow Cream. So I've got that in my brow today. And it's the first thing I put on because you'll see how woefully sparse my brows are. So these are tinted brow gels, which are great. So I've got 2 shades of those. I've got their 2 shades of their Heaven's Glow blushes. So we've got one in Faded Clementine and one in Magic Hour. So I will be putting one on one cheek and one on the other cheek. And then what I did was I sort of mixed them together so they're even, but you can see them demonstrated later on. So these are baked sort of glowy blushes. So I don't have any highlighter on. You can just see that that's the glow of the blush. So these are really, really pretty. I also really love the packaging of this brand. Like, it's quite minimal. They've got that cool logo. I like the colors they've chosen. They're sort of muted and the packaging feels really good quality. So that's one thing I really like about the brand as well, the packaging. And then the last thing I'll be trying are these Infinite Lip Cloud Long Wearing Lip Creams. So I'll try all of these on. I've got 3 shades. They do have a lot more shades, but the one that I'm currently wearing is the darkest one in Radiant Dawn, but you'll see me try all of these on. All right, I'm gonna start with brows because look at them. They are so sparse and ridiculous. I did trim them just this morning, so any long loose hairs that would sort of fill in any gaps are now gone. So look how I look so bald. So I've got 2 shades. I've got Taupe, which I'll show you the close-up. So when I look at this packaging, I think that this is going to be like the where the wand is and that's the lid, but it's actually the other way around. So the white part is the lid and you can see how small that wand is. It's tiny. So this is the Taupe color. So it looks like a medium sort of brown. It's not too warm, which is nice. And you can see how dry that is. So it's not, you know, really, really wet. You can sort of put more on, but it's not wet and sort of, I don't know, really, really pigmented. And then the other shade I have is Espresso, which is a darker cool toned brown. So that's Espresso and that's Taupe. I don't know if that actually shows much of a difference. So I'm going with Taupe, and what I really like about these, so I'm going to see if I can demonstrate them, is that because it is so small and it is so dry, I can actually sort of build, see where there's no hairs, like there's actually no hairs there. So I do need to fill in my brows with something that will draw onto the skin, so like a pomade or a pencil. But I find that this does a really good job at filling in, not only sort of like taming the hairs a little bit, but also filling in color on just skin. But because it is so dry and it doesn't deposit much product, you can actually take it really slow and really precisely because the wand is so small. Whereas I find with other brow gels, like tinted brow gels, it just deposits too boldly and it goes really patchy. Like there's almost, you go from nothing to a lot and I end up having to remove a lot of it. But you can see how just instantly I got to fill in my brows there without much hassle, without much issue. The only problem I've noticed with this product is that it doesn't hold the hairs in place for very long, or it's not very, doesn't set down so the brow hairs don't move. So if you do have long brow hairs, you sort of do still need to go over maybe a little bit with a setting gel or something, because this doesn't really hold it into place. It sort of moves it into place, but doesn't like lock it in place, if that makes sense. But one thing I really love about this, it's like the only brow gel I've used that can give you that sort of built up effect where there's no hair and it still look natural and it be really easy. So this is by far, for sparse brows like this, the best tinted brow gel I've ever used. I've used Benefit, I've used Anastasia Beverly Hills, I've used a whole bunch of them and they do nothing for me, but this is like, it's like a really dry, not very pigmented pomade in a tube. The thing I think is closest to this in my collection is probably the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow. I think it's the Dip Brow Gel. Anyway, it's essentially like the Dip Brow pomade in a gel form, which gives you that sort of built up effect as well, but it's a lot more pigmented and the brush isn't as precise. It's a much shorter and sort of stubbier brush, so it's harder to get that sort of thin control. And also because it is a lot more pigmented, you deposit a lot more than this. This one you have the ability to build up. So if I then wanted to go in with a little bit more just to sort of build up the color, I can. but I find that the Anastasia one works pretty well, but it doesn't give you this sort of natural effect. It goes really bold pretty quickly, but I really love this. I think this is such a great product. All right, so those are the brows zoomed out. I thought I'd just show them to you. One thing I really like about this is it's probably, for me, the most natural looking brow that I can sort of achieve. Lately I've been wearing sort of minimal makeup, but I do like to fill in my brows because you saw how sparse they are. So I like to put a bit of pencil through them, or a bit of pomade, or a bit of powder. And I find that no matter what I do, if I fill in my brows, because I have such sparse brows, they always look really bold. No matter what color I use, no matter what technique I use, if I'm not wearing much makeup, they look really bold. If I'm wearing like a bold eye like I am today, and like a bold lip, they balance out and it looks fine. But I definitely think this is my most natural way I can achieve a full brow, which is great. It does also mean that it's not the most precise. So if you're the type of person that really wants to go, oh, I want to mimic hairs in certain spots, or I want my brows to look exactly even, this product is not going to be what you want. But I do think that you can always follow it up with a bit of a micro brow pencil. So sometimes what I do, because this is also, you got to sort of take your time with it, like put a little bit on and build it up where you need it. What I like to do is just brush this through the bulk of my brows, and then sometimes I go in with the front just with a micro brow pencil and just do really fine little hairs, because that's where I want it to be the most even. Because if it's wonky on this, like the inner part of the brows, it can really throw off the face. So I think this is a really invaluable product if you have brows like mine that are really, really sparse. They need some filling in, but you don't want to fill them in too boldly because they end up looking too unnatural. I think this is fantastic. So I think this is definitely one of the most unique brow gels I've used, because it's one that I actually want to keep using, which is unlike me. I usually hate tinted brow gels. All right, now I want to demonstrate the two Heaven's Glow blushes. So these are glowy blushes. I like to use these as sort of like a blush and highlighter in one. I just find it like an easy, quick step. Magic Hour is definitely more pink. This is the first one they came out with. And originally I didn't think it was going to be one that I like, but it actually has quite a nice peachy base. So even though it does look pink, I think it's a nice mix between a nude, a pink, and a peach. So it's not like that sort of Barbie pink on your cheeks, which I personally don't love. I like something a little bit warmer like this. I also have Faded Clementine, which kind of looks bronzy, so you can see compared to it, they actually have very similar tones. I think it's just the packaging. Like if you put them in the same color packaging, I think you'd see the color difference a lot better, but sort of the contrast with the black and the contrast with this sort of light pink color makes them look sort of similar, but they are different. This is a lot more sort of bronzier, and it's got a gold sheen. So I just turned down the brightness. Faded Clementine's here, and Magic Hour's there. So one is definitely more bronzy orange tone. It's got more of a gold highlight to it, whereas this is more of a, yeah, like I said, nudie, pinky, peach color. And it's got a bit of a pink iridescence to it. So I'll see if I can swatch them. So you can see how Magic Hour does, on me anyway, look quite peachy, which I like. And this is the Faded Clementine, which you can see is a lot more orange. So even though they do look quite similar on camera in the pans, they are quite different. All right, I've just turned down the brightness yet again so we can see this a little bit better. I've got the Nabla. This is the Bonnie Mine brush that I'm going to be using. And I'm going to be starting with this one, so the lighter one. And we can just, I've got a nice mirror in the lid as well, so I can actually do my blush there. You can hopefully see, adds a little bit of color and a little bit of, you see that? It's got a beautiful pink glow. Oh, hopefully you can see that on the camera, because in person you can see it. It's gorgeous. So it's more of a nude, peachy sort of base, and then it has that pink glow, which I think is really, really pretty. It's quite unique. It's a nice soft blush. You can build it up or have it quite sheer, but because it is more of a baked formula, it applies very, very smoothly, and it doesn't have like a patchy effect to it, which I think is great, because I don't mind a heavy-handed blush as long as it's not like a really patchy blush. But you can see that that glow that has created, that I don't have. I do have natural glow, but I don't have that glow. Just that I don't have that. So that's gorgeous. It's so pretty. And again, straight on, if you're looking, it looks more peachy nude with just that pink glow. So if you're scared of pink blush like I am, this one is not sort of your typical pink blush. It's more of a beautiful peachy pink nude sort of hybrid, which is really gorgeous. Now with the other side of this brush, I'm going to go in with this one on this cheek, and we can see how this one goes. This is a little bit more of a bold blush, so I'm going to tap some off, and let's just put it on. This is definitely more orange, and it's got more of a highlight effect to it because it's yeah, just stronger in color. You can see there, definitely stronger in color, and that gold highlight is stronger as well. So that one, well, that looks, look, I think I put a bit too much on, but look, we're demonstrating it. So these are the things you do for videos. And why am I using the viewfinder as a mirror? I don't know, because I'm rusty at filming. What did I do here? Is this like a sleep crease that hasn't gone away? What is that? Anyway, so you can see that that gives you that sort of highlight effect. So if I was to wear this blush just on its own, I wouldn't feel the need to put highlighter because it gives you that beautiful gold glow. So this one is definitely a darker blush. It's more bronzy. You can see it's more of an orangey bronze base with a gold sheen, which is really pretty. And then this one has a similar sort of orangey base to it, but it's got more of that cooler, more subtle pink sheen, but they're both very pretty. And I love the fact that you can wear a blush and have that highlighted glow effect, because this is the sort of glow that I like on my face. I don't like those strips of highlighter. I sort of want this sort of wash of sheen that these provide. So this is a really nice amount of glow. So I can get that with a blush and a highlighter in one, which I think is great about these. But I might actually pick up a little bit of Magic Hour and just dot it here to mix them together so I don't look crazy today. And a bit of faded Clementine on this side to just even it out. I love having Boogie in the background. Look how cute he is. So the last things I want to talk about and demonstrate are the lip products. So these are actually called Infinite Lip Cloud Long Wearing Lip Creams. I do have 3 shades here. You can tell I got them in PR because realistically only one of these shades would be something that I would personally pick out. I'm not a big pink fan. We've discussed this many times. So I like to go more brownie nudes, sort of orangey tone things, red tone things. So, you know, these two I probably wouldn't have picked out. So we've got Morning Mocha, we've got Cashmere Cream and Radiant Dawn. There are a lot of other shades available, but I'll just swatch them really quickly. I also want to talk about the scent. These smell to me like hot chocolate powder. So if you don't like that sort of artificial chocolate sweet scent, you probably won't like the scent of these. I do quite like them. Again, it smells like hot chocolate powder, and I don't hate that. But let's just swatch them. You can see that they're quite nicely pigmented, and they're more of a lip mousse. They're not super bold, but they're nicely even in pigmentation, and they do have that sort of moussey consistency. So we've got 2 nudes, a brownie nude, a pinky nude. Oh, Boogie's stretching. Hopefully doesn't leave. Don't leave me, Boogie. Good boy. Good boy. And we have a brighter sort of pink shade here. So those are the 3 shades. So I'll start by demonstrating the lightest, then I'll go deepest. So it's just easier to remove. So we'll start with this one, the Cashmere Cream. This is actually my least favorite one, and it definitely isn't something that I would pick up personally. I don't mind it on. You can see that it does actually look quite nice on the lips. I don't mind a light nude. Generally pink tone nudes, not my cup of tea, but this one is actually a pretty nice flattering color. I just don't love how it wears. So I'm going to put this on and show it to you, and then I'll discuss what I think about it. So that's the color there. You can see that this is a moussey formula. It gives that sort of soft matte effect, really easy to apply with you don't need to build it up, you just need to put it on. It has a nice even effect. This type of lip product, however, because it doesn't dry down completely, as you wear it, it actually does dry, like feels a bit drier as the day goes on. But because it is still a little bit moussey and a little bit malleable on the lips, I do find that this one sort of moves and it gets that sort of like light line on the inner part of the lips, and it looks pretty obvious and looks a bit weird. So this color for me, I think it looks nice when it's freshly applied, but as it wears down, like the difference between my lip color and this lip product, it's quite stark difference. And when it sort of does have that line eventually, it sort of looks a little bit unappealing. So this is my least favorite one, even though I do think that for a sort of light pink tone nude, this is one of the most flattering light pink tone nudes I've come across. I just think that in this formula and on me personally, I don't love it. So for me, this would be a shade that I might mix with other shades to lighten them a bit. But you can also sort of wear this a little bit blotted. So that's how I would wear this personally, or maybe under a lip gloss so it doesn't have that weird sort of movement that it's got. But you can sort of blot it down to make it a little bit less obvious. So you can see blotted down, it does look a little bit softer and it doesn't look as harsh in color, and the sort of separation between my natural lips and the color look a lot more natural. So as this wears down, it doesn't look as obvious, which is nice. But yeah, I don't really love this color enough to want to do that on a daily basis. I do prefer the other two colors, but yeah, this is the color. My most worn shade would be Morning Mocha, and I also like the name because I like to have mochas in the morning. Again, they've all got the same sort of scent, but this one is more of a brown tone nude, a little bit darker. So you can see that this one is more of a mid-tone brownie nude. I prefer these. I just feel like they wear a lot better on me. I think they sort of suit the kind of tones that I like to go for. So these sort of warmer blushes works better with these sort of tones, and also it sort of blends a lot better with my natural lip color. So this one, even though it probably wears down very similar to that light pink one, I feel like this one fades down more naturally on me. So I tend to wear this one more. I also want to mention that these wands are really cool. So they have that sort of dip in them. There we go. So it's got a point and a dip, so you can get a nice sort of precise line without needing a lip liner, but also it holds enough product that you can do your whole lip. You don't need to go and re-dip necessarily unless you sort of want to build up the color a little bit. So on camera, I think this looks a little bit darker than it sort of looks in person. In person, this sort of looks like my lips, but slightly darker and more opaque. On camera, I think it looks a little bit more bold, but it's a really, really beautiful color and it feels really comfortable on the lips. They do have a bit of hydration to them. Throughout the day, they do dry down a little bit more, but they do have a little bit of movement and they're not that really sort of dry, you know, sort of cakey feel on the lips, which is really good. All right, so the last shade, Radiant Dawn, is one that I wouldn't have picked out for myself, but I actually quite like it. Probably not the best for winter, that we're in winter at the moment, but it's a really pretty pink. All right, so that is the color there. It's actually a lot brighter than it sort of gives the impression of. Like, it does look like a fairly bright pink, but I think it's a little bit more vibrant on the lips than it sort of looks in the tube. I really like this color. I think it's really pretty. I can imagine myself wearing this in summer with like just like a light gold eye and some mascara or something. This wears pretty well. It does fade down, so you can tell that these are nice and even in pigmentation, but they're not opaque. So they don't completely blank out the lips, but they do provide a nice even application. So they don't look streaky, they don't look patchy, but they aren't super, super bold. So when this does fade down, it almost looks a bit more like a blotted lip or a stain type effect. Like, you can start seeing the lips come through, but it is a really beautiful bright color. And you can see that it is sort of like a cloud soft matte that sort of becomes a little bit more matte as the day goes on, but it's a very, very pretty effect. All right, so that's me testing out some M Cosmetics stuff, the first M Cosmetics products that I've ever tried. And I do want to say that in conclusion, I do really like these products. I think they're all good products, but I think that there's differences in like where they fit in my makeup collection. So for example, I think the brow gels are definitely the most unique. When it comes to the blushes, these aren't as unique. I do have blushes that are sort of shimmery, sort of baked blushes like this. These do remind me a little bit of formulas like Hourglass or whatever it might be, but I do think that these are beautiful and the tones are gorgeous. Now, ironically, when people have recommended this brand to to me. They often recommend these products, and these are probably the things I like the least out of the 3 items that I've used. I'm not saying that they're bad by any means. I just think that this particular color just does not work for me. These do work for me and they are quite nice, but I don't think they stand out as being like super unique products in my collection. I do have products that are sort of moussey, have a similar consistency, have a similar effect on the lips, and wear just as well, if not sometimes better. So I do like these. I think they're nice products, but I don't think they stand out as being like, I have to place another order for these. Whereas if I ran out of this brow product, I'll definitely consider placing an order to pick one of these up again, because I haven't found anything else like it. And I'd probably throw in a few other products just to try them, because I'd be curious, but I wouldn't necessarily do that for these. These I think you can sort of dupe. So these are not my most favorite things from the 3 items I've tried. All right, so that was me just dipping my little toe in the water of M Cosmetics and trying a few of their products. I have to say that overall I am impressed in the formula, and even if the products weren't necessarily something that suits my makeup style, so that light lip product for example, I think the quality is really, really nice overall, and they have some really innovative products that stand out to me as being really cool products that I want to keep reaching for, which is fantastic. So this little experience that I've had trying M Cosmetics over the last few weeks has made me a lot more confident to want to order from them and try more things, because previously I was a little bit hesitant. I wasn't able to try them in store. So you always take a bit of a risk ordering from a brand that you've never tried before and ordering online, but I'm not concerned about that anymore because the quality is really, really nice. So yeah, I will link their website down below if you're interested in trying them, but there's definitely some cool stuff they have to offer, and I sort of want to try some more of their lip line, so different formulas of their lip products and maybe even different colors of this particular lip product. Anyway guys, it was nice to see you. I haven't filmed for a couple of weeks, so nice to see you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.